Good afternoon. This is Knowledge Time. Welcome, Alchemists. Today I'll be reading from the book The Laws of Human Nature by Robert Greene. Currently, I am in chapter 13, Advance with a Sense of Purpose, The Law of Aimlessness, Part 2, Keys to Human Nature. In the world today, we humans face a particular predicament. As soon as our schooling ends, we suddenly find ourselves thrown into the work world, where people can be ruthless and the competition is fierce. Only a few years before, if we were lucky, our parents met many of our needs and were there to guide us. In some cases, they were overprotective. But we find ourselves on our own, with little or no life experience to rely upon. We have to make decisions and choices that will affect our entire future. In the not so distant past, people's career and life choices were somewhat limited. They would settle into the particular jobs or roles available to them and stay there for decades. Certain older figures, mentors, family members, religious leaders, could offer some direction if needed, but such stability and help is hard to find today, as the world changes ever more quickly. Everyone is caught up in the harsh struggle to make it. People have never been so preoccupied with their own needs and agendas. The advice of our parents might be totally antiquated in this new order. Facing this unprecedented state of affairs, we tend to react in one of two ways. Some of us, excited by all the changes, actually embrace this new order. We are young and full of energy. The smorgasbord of opportunities offered by the digital world dazzles us. We can experiment, try many different jobs, have many different relationships and adventures. Commitments to a single career or person feel like unnecessary restrictions on this freedom. Obeying orders and listening to authority figures in old fashion. Better to explore, have fun, and be open. A time will come when we will figure out what exactly to do with our lives. In the meantime, maintaining the freedom to do as we wish and go where we please becomes our main motivation. Some of us, however, react the opposite way. Frightened of the chaos, we quickly opt for a career that is practical and lucrative, hopefully related to some of our interests, but not necessarily. We settle on an intimate relationship. We may even continue to cling to our parents. What motivates us is to somehow establish the stability that is so hard to find in this world. Both paths, however, tend to lead to some problems further down the road. In the first case, trying so many things out, we never really develop solid skills in one particular area. We find it hard to focus on a specific activity for too long because we are so used to flitting around and distracting ourselves, which makes it doubly hard to learn new skills if we want to. Because of this, our career possibilities begin to narrow. We become trapped into moving from one job to another. We might now want a relationship that lasts, but we haven't developed the tolerance for compromise, and we cannot help but bristle at the restrictions to our freedom that a lasting relationship will represent. Although we might not like to admit it to ourselves, our freedom can begin to wear on us. In the second case, the career we committed to in our 20s might begin to feel a bit lifeless in our 30s. We choose it for practical purposes, and it has little connection to what actually interests us in life. It begins to feel just like a job. Our minds disengage from the work. And now that some more gas board of opportunities in the modern world begins to attempt us as we reach midlife, perhaps we need some new, exciting career or relationship or adventure. In either case, we do what we can to manage our frustrations, but as the years go by, we start to experience bouts of pain that we cannot deny or repress. We are generally unaware of the source of our discomfort, the lack of purpose and true direction in our lives. This pain comes in several forms. We feel increasingly bored, not really engaged in our work. We turn to various distractions to occupy our restless minds, but By the law of diminishing returns, we need to continually find new and stronger forms of diversion. The latest trend in entertainment, travel to an exotic location, a new guru or cause to follow, hobbies that are taken up and abandoned quickly, addictions of all kinds. Only when we are alone or in down moments do we actually experience the chronic boredom that motivates many of our actions and eats away at us. We feel increasingly insecure. We all have dreams and a sense of our own potential. If we have wandered aimlessly through life or gone astray, we begin to become aware of the discrepancy between our dreams and reality. We have no solid accomplishments. We feel envious of those who do. Our ego becomes brittle, placing us in a trap. We are too fragile to take criticism. Learning requires an admission that we don't know things and need to improve, but we feel too insecure to admit this, and so our ideas become set and our skills stagnant. We cover this up with an air of certainty and strong opinions or moral superiority, but the underlying insecurity cannot be shaken. We often feel anxious and stressed, but are never quite certain as to why. Life involves inevitable obstacles and difficulties, but we have spent much of our time trying to avoid anything painful. Perhaps we didn't take on responsibilities that would open us to failure. We steer clear of tough choices and stressful situations, but then they crop up in the present. We are forced to finish something by a deadline, or we suddenly become ambitious and want to realize a dream of ours. We have not learned in the past how to handle such situations, and the anxiety and stress overwhelm us. Our avoidance leads to a low-grade, continual anxiety, and finally, we feel depressed. All of us want to believe that there is some purpose and meaning to our life, that we are connected to something larger than ourselves. We want to feel some weight and significance to what we have done. Without that conviction, we experience an emptiness and depression that will ascribe to other factors. Understand, this feeling of being lost and confused is not anyone's fault. It is a natural reaction to having been born into times of great change and chaos. The old support systems of the past, religions, universal causes to believe in, social cohesion, have mostly disappeared, at least in the Western world. Disappearing also are the elaborate conventions, rules, and taboos that once channeled behavior. We are all cast adrift, and it is no wonder that so many people lose themselves in addiction and depression. The problem here is simple. By our nature, we humans crave a sense of direction. Other living organisms rely upon elaborate instincts to guide and determine their behavior. We have come to depend upon our consciousness, but the human mind is a bottomless pit. It provides us with endless mental spaces to explore. Our imagination can take us anywhere and conjure up anything at any moment. We could choose to go in 100 different directions without belief systems or conventions in place. We seem to have no obvious compass points to guide our behavior and decisions, and this can be maddening. Fortunately, there is one way out of this predicament, and it is by nature available to each and every one of us. There is no need to look for gurus or to grow nostalgic for the past and its certainties. A compass and guidance system does exist. It comes from looking for and discovering the individual purpose to our lives. It is the path taken by the greatest achievers and contributors to the advancement of human culture, and we have to see the path to take it. Here's how it works. Each human individual is radically unique. This uniqueness is inscribed in us in three ways: the one-of-a-kind configuration of our DNA, the particular way our brains are wired, and our experiences as we go through life, experiences that are unlike any others. Consider this uniqueness as a seed that is planted at birth with potential growth, and this uniqueness has a purpose. In nature, in a thriving ecosystem, we can observe a high level of diversity among species, but these diverse species operating in a balance. The system is rich and feeds off itself, creating new species and more interrelationships. Ecosystems with little diversity are rather barren, and their health is much more tenuous. We humans operate in our own cultural ecosystem. Throughout history, we can see that the healthiest and most celebrated cultures have been the ones that encouraged and exploited the greatest internal diversity among individuals. Ancient Athens, the Chinese Song Dynasty, the Italian Renaissance, the 1920s in the Western world, to name a few. These were periods of tremendous creativity, high points in history. We can contrast this with the conformity and cultural sterility in dictatorship. By bringing our uniqueness to flower in the course of our life throughout our particular skills and the specific nature of our work, we contribute our share to this needed diversity. This uniqueness actually transcends our individual existence. It is stamped upon us by nature itself. How can we explain why we are drawn to music, or to helping other people, or to particular forms of knowledge? We have inherited it, and it is there for a purpose. Striving to connect to and cultivate this uniqueness provides us a path to follow, an internal guidance system through life. But connecting to this system does not come easily. Normally, the signs of our uniqueness are clearer to us in early childhood. We find ourselves naturally drawn to particular subjects or activities, despite the influence of our parents. We can call these primal inclinations. They speak to us like a voice, but as we get older, that voice becomes drowned out by parents, peers, teachers, the culture at large. We are told what to like, what is cool, what is not cool. We start to lose a sense of who we are, what makes us different. We choose career paths unsuited to our nature. To tap into this guidance system, we must make the connection to our uniqueness as strong as possible and learn to trust that voice. For more on this, see Discover Your Calling in Life in the next section. To the degree we manage to do so, we are richly rewarded. We have a sense of direction in the form of an overall career path that meshes with our particular inclinations. We have a calling. We know which skills we need and want to develop. We have goals and sub-goals. When we take detours from our path or become involved in entanglements that distract us from our goals, we feel uncomfortable and quickly get back on course. We may explore and have adventures, as is natural for us when we are young, but there is a relative direction to our exploring that frees us from continual doubts and distractions. This path does not require that we follow one simple line or that our inclinations be narrowly focused. Perhaps we feel the pull of several types of knowledge. Our path involves mastering a variety of skills and combining them in highly inventive and creative ways. This was the genius of Leonardo da Vinci, who combined his interest in art, science, architecture, and engineering, having mastered each one of them. This way of following the path goes well with our modern eclectic tastes and our love of wide exploration. When we engage this internal guidance system, all the negative emotions that plague us in our aimlessness are neutralized and even turned around into positive ones. For instance, we may feel boredom in the process of accumulating skills. Practice can be tedious, but we can embrace the tedium, knowing of the tremendous benefits to come. We are learning something that excites us. We do not crave constant distractions. Our minds are pleasantly absorbed in the work. We develop the ability to focus deeply, and with such focus comes momentum. We retain what we absorb because we are engaged emotionally in learning. We then learn at a faster rate, which leads to creative energy. With the mind teeming with fresh information, ideas begin to come to us out of nowhere. Reaching such creative levels is intensely satisfying, and it becomes ever easier to add new skills to our repertoire. Excuse me. With a sense of purpose, we feel much less insecure. We have an overall sense that we are advancing, realizing some or all of our potential. We can begin to look back at various accomplishments, small or large. We got things done. We may have moments of doubt, but they are generally related more to the quality of our work than to our self-worth. Did Did we do our best job focusing more on the work itself and its qualities that on what people think of us? We can distinguish between practical and malicious criticism. We have an inner resiliency which helps us bounce back from failures and learn from them. We know who we are, and this self awareness becomes our anchor in life. With this guidance system in place, we can turn anxiety and stress into productive emotion. In trying to reach our goals, a book, a business, winning a political campaign, we have to manage a great deal of anxiety and uncertainty, making daily decisions on what to do. In the process, we learn to control our levels of anxiety. If we think too much about how far we have to go, we might feel overwhelmed. Instead, we learn to focus on smaller goals along the way, while also retaining a degree of urgency. We develop the ability to regulate our anxiety, enough to keep us going and keep improving the work, but not so much as to paralyze us. This is an important life skill. We develop a high tolerance for stress as well, and even feed off of it. We humans are actually built to handle stress. Our restless and energetic minds thrive best when we are mentally and physically active. Our adrenaline pumping. It is a known phenomenon that people tend to age more quickly and deteriorate more rapidly right after they retire. Their minds have nothing to feed on. Anxious thoughts return. They become less active, maintaining some stress and tension. And knowing how to handle it can improve our health. And finally, with the sense of purpose, we are less prone to depression. Yes, low moments are inevitable, even welcome. They make us withdraw and reassess ourselves as they did for King. But more often, we feel excited and lifted above the pettiness that so often marks daily life in the modern world. We are on a mission. We are realizing our life's work. We are contributing to something much larger than ourselves. And this ennobles us. We have moments of great fulfillment that sustain us. Even death can lose its sting. What we have accomplished will outlive us, and we do not have the debilitating feeling of having wasted our potential. Think of it this way. In military history, we can identify two types of armies: those that fight for a cause or an idea, and those that fight largely for money as part of a job. Those that go to war for a cause, such as the armies of Napoleon Bonaparte fighting to spread the French Revolution, fight with greater intensity. They tie their individual fate to that of the cause and the nation. They are more willing to die in battle for the cause. Those in the army who are less enthusiastic get swept up in the group spirit. The general can ask more of his soldiers. The battalions are more unified, and the various battalion leaders are more creative. Fighting for a cause is known as a force multiplier. The greater the connection to the cause, the higher the morale, which translates into greater force. Such an army can often defeat one that is much larger but less motivated. We can say something similar about our life. Operating with a high sense of purpose is a force multiplier. All of your decisions and actions have greater power behind them because they are guided by a central idea and purpose. The many sides of your character are channeled into this purpose, giving you more sustained energy. Your focus and your ability to bounce back from adversity give you ineluctable momentum. You can ask more of yourself, and in a world where so many people are meandering, you will spring past them with ease and attract attention for this. People will want to be around you to imbibe your spirit. Your task as a student of human nature is twofold. First, you must become aware of the primary role that a sense of purpose plays in human nature. By our nature, the need for purpose has a gravitational pull to it that no one can resist. Look at the people around you. Engage what is guiding their behavior, seeing patterns in their choices. Is the freedom to do what they please their primary motivation? Are they mostly after pleasure, money, attention, power for its own sake, or a cause to join? These are what we shall call false purposes, and they lead to obsessive behavior and various dead ends. For more on false purposes, see the last section of this chapter. Once you identify people as motivated by a false purpose, you should avoid hiring or working with them, as they will tend to draw you downward with their unproductive energy. You will also notice some people who are struggling to find their purpose in the form of their calling in life. Perhaps you can help them or you can help each other. And finally, you may recognize a few people who have a relatively high sense of purpose. This could be someone young who seems destined for greatness. You will want to befriend them and become infected with their enthusiasm. Others will be older, with a string of accomplishments to their name. You want to associate with them in any way possible. They will draw you upward. Your second task is to find your sense of purpose and elevate it by making the connection to it as deep as possible. See the next section for more on this. If you are young, use what you find to give an overall framework to your restless energy. Explore the world freely, accumulate adventures, but all within a certain framework. Most important, accumulate skills. If you are older and have gone astray, take the skills you have acquired and find ways to gently channel them in the direction that will eventually mesh with your inclinations and spirit. Avoid sudden and drastic career changes that are impractical. Keep in mind that your contribution to the culture can come in many forms. You don't have to become an entrepreneur or figure largely on the world stage. You can do just as well operating as one person in a group or organization, as long as you retain a strong point of view that is your own and use this to gently exert your influence. Your path can involve physical labor and craft. You take pride in the excellence of the work, leaving your particular stamp on the quality. It can be raised in the family in the best way possible. No calling is superior to another. What matters is that it be tied to a personal need and inclination, and that your energy move you toward improvement and continual learning from experience. In any event, you will want to go as far as you can in cultivating your uniqueness and the originality that goes with it. In a world full of people who seem largely interchangeable, you cannot be replaced. You are one of a kind. Your combinations of skills and experience is not replicable. That represents true freedom and the ultimate power we humans can possess. In conclusion, pretty much what I got from this, very interesting. This is a very interesting read. Pretty much just be yourself, have your purpose. You know, you can alleviate the depression. I know me personally, I fell into a depression about 2-3 years ago, and then I just decided to get back into school. And I've just noticed I've just been so it occupies my mind. So, and then plus I get to travel back and forth. That's just another urge, another scratch. So pretty much, you know, I'm getting my education. I'm networking in California, so that's where I'll be at. And pretty much I'm just looking for the best opportunities, deals that I can come across. So, but what I got out of this was pretty much purpose, and you know, just once you have it, just keep living by it. And then another thing that caught my eye was the Force Multiplier, how fighting for a cause has the momentum and strength to overcome. So that was interesting, the Force Multiplier, fighting for a cause. And I pretty much used that. Before I didn't really have a cause. I wanted to end my life because, you know, growing up with no family, I felt I didn't have a purpose, you know, so I would just live life crazily, like ready to die, like for YOLO, all that growing up, all that. So, I mean, I came from, so now this is just pretty much me, self-improvement, what I'm doing, you know, just pretty much reading books, something I hated to do. Now I'm starting to feel it again. I'm just feeling life, like pretty much just the purpose. It's just wow, and it's interesting. You know, I'm not. It's interesting just to read it out loud, to hear myself. Even day by day, I'm getting stronger with my words. So I don't know. You get stronger. I think when you read out loud, it strengthens you. Not when you read to yourself. Cause I used to read to myself a lot, but it's not like me actually reading out loud like this. I mean, I sense my level, my value's going up just because of it. So plus I'm working out my physical, along with my my words, my language, this is just gonna feel like a lot of value. So that's what I'm trying to portray and feel inside. Because I want to give myself the best, and whoever comes in contact with me the greatest. So, and just pretty much spread that type of energy. So, and this is why I do it. This is part of knowledge time. This is part of the masculine confidence buildings course. Pretty much, I got health as wealth. Under health as wealth, I talk about nutrition and fitness, build your business, how to form an LLC, how to form a holding company. Pretty much, I'm still looking for a product or service, but I'm looking towards buying my first semi truck, so I'm gonna try that out. Next, invest. I invest in the global stock market. I invest in land. I got property out here in South America. Real estate. I haven't got into that. I'm planning on buying a house out in California, but I'm still outside of the in the Bay Area, but outside of San Francisco. So, and then precious metals. I'm starting now with gold, not gold bars, but silver bars, and working my way up. And then I go to networking events. The next one is Vets in Tech, and it's called the Invasion in Silicon Valley 2019. So I'm already signed up for that. Build a family. Pretty much, that's something important for part of the masculine confidence building a family for a man. It just gives you that masculine feeling. Pretty much you pass on your legacy to your kids or die forgotten. Pretty much the choice is yours. So, and that's what I'm about, just building my family and passing it. Growing marijuana. OG Kush, that's my daytime medicine. Grape Ape, nighttime. That's pretty much the ratio for Grape Ape. It's like 10% sativa, 90% indica, and then OG Kush is like 40% sativa, and then 60% indica. And that is my favorite for the day. Like, it helps me get stuff done, doing with my lower back pain, my knees, oh man, wonderful. OG Kush, Grape Ape. So pretty much I'm gonna purchase OG Kush, the feminized seeds. I think there's a website called I Love Growing Marijuana. They have 10 seeds for $89. So when I hit Cali, I'm gonna pick up a pack of those, and then I'm gonna start that probably in June. Start growing my own batch here in South America, so I have my own supply. What else? Oh, I got under masculine confidence building. I got U.S. military veterans only. I show veterans how to get their VA service connected disability compensation. How to file for the VA clothing allowance. VA vocational rehabilitation and employment, chapter 31. That's what I am currently with education. There's another track with business, so I teach veterans how to get in those programs. And then there's a survivors and dependents educational assistance, chapter 35, which that is pretty much geared for family members to go to school. My wife is currently in it, so I got her in it. I'm working on her Social Security. I teach in that program. I teach you how to get U.S. credit, and then just currently about 2 years ago, I got credit in Colombia. So that's another thing that I'll show. If Americans trying to come over here and build something, you can do it. It's possible, but pretty much I'll show you guys like how to get credit in Colombia. And then this is a new one, debt relief program. Pretty much I was fighting a $20,000 debt with my bank, and I just finally get with a debt relief program, which was Freedom Debt Relief. And pretty much their minimum debt requirement is $10K. I had $20K, so their cost is 20% of the debt. So pretty much just set a $20,000 debt, 20,000 of 20% is $4K. So, and then lastly I got knowledge time, read a book, and then also I got cheat sheets for this is something new that I'm gonna get into more when I get into California, is AI, artificial intelligence, neural networks, machine learning, deep learning, and then big data. So those are new topics, but those are all under my masculine confidence building channel. So if you want to hit that up, that's where that's at, and I'm building on that daily. So outro, subscribe to the channel, comment any questions you have, like if the information was inspiring for you, and share this knowledge with other alchemists. Also, follow me on Instagram for more progressive knowledge. My Instagram is Max_Bugatti_8008. I'm all about family first. I'm a global stock investor. Check me out. I have a killer portfolio ratio: 60% stocks, 30% index funds, 5% bonds, ETF, and then 5% precious metals. So pretty much I show you guys on another channel that where I'm a global stock investor, showing individuals how to, first time investors, how to pretty much invest in the market and get over that fear like I did for years. And when Robinhood came out, I pretty much, that's what broke pretty much the curse that was cursed. And all that time I could have been invested, but I was just scared of the commission fees. So I got over that, but this is a whole nother world for me. Filmmaker, I'm a student at the Academy of Art University in San Francisco. I'll be back on the 4th. The class starts on the 4th of February, so I'll be back the following day. So I'm gonna miss my first 2 days, but usually the first week they're pretty much lenient. They know students are flying in, so that are out of state. Aerospace botanist, OG Kush, Grape Ape, masculine confidence building course. I just went over that with you guys, like pretty much the different topics that are within the masculine confidence building course. And then currently I'm out here in Cali, Colombia. While you're slaying dragons, I'll be taming them.